Okay, let's start with a number, a really big one, $100 billion.
Give or take a few billion, sure.
Right, yeah. That is roughly the amount of assets currently sitting in open source smart contracts. And I mean, if you add stablecoins into the mix, we are talking about trillions of dollars moving around every single month. It's a massive economy.
It is. It's a staggering amount of value.
Yeah,
And the terrifying part that people often forget, it's all running on code that is visible to literally anyone with an internet connection.
exactly. And that brings us to the core tension of today's deep dive, because in traditional software, like say your banking app or the OS on your laptop, if there's a bug, the company just pushes a patch. You wake up, your phone updates, and it's fixed on Monday morning. But in this world, we're talking about the dark forest.
Ah, yeah, the dark forest. That's a term you hear a lot in the Ethereum ecosystem. It's actually a metaphor that comes from science fiction, specifically the three-body problem. And the idea is that the blockchain is a highly adversarial environment. It's not just passive code sitting there waiting to be used. There are bots, there are scripts, and there are people constantly scanning that code in real time. It's the silent, dark forest full of hunters. And if they find a vulnerability, they don't file a friendly customer support ticket.
They definitely do not. They exploit it.
Instantly. And once the money is gone, it's gone. There is no undo button. There is no call center to reverse the transaction. So today we are unpacking a fascinating and frankly slightly alarming new paper. It's titled EVMbench, Evaluating AI Agents on Smart Contract Security. And it's a heavy-hitter collaboration between researchers at OpenAI, Paradigm, and OtterSec.
It is. And the mission of this paper is deceptively simple. We know AI can write poetry, we know it can code simple websites, and pass the bar exam. But the question is, can an AI agent, acting entirely on its own, enter this dark forest?
Right.
Can it find the bugs, fix them, or that's the critical question, can it exploit them to steal real money? I have to admit, reading through this, I felt a mix of, well, wow, technology is amazing, and also, I should probably put all my money under a mattress.
It's a completely natural reaction. I think we all felt a bit of that. But we really have to look at this as a necessary stress test. If we want this financial infrastructure to survive and actually scale, we need to know if the defenses can keep up with the offenses.
So let's unpack the landscape here. Before we get to the scary robot hackers, why do we need a specific benchmark for this? I mean, why not just use normal coding tests? Code is code, right?
Not exactly, no. Smart contracts are a completely different beast. As the paper defines them, these are programs that live on-chain. They execute exactly as written. They don't run on a private server owned by Google or Amazon.
They run on every node in the network.
Simultaneously.
Exactly. And unlike a calculator app or a to-do list, they hold assets. They're effectively vaults made of math.
Right. And as we mentioned earlier, the environment is adversarial. The paper points out that previous benchmarks mostly looked at toy problems like textbook examples or traditional cybersecurity stuff like buffer overflows and C++. But EVMbench is different because it uses the real thing. They curated 120 high-severity vulnerabilities from real-world audit competitions.
This is from Code4Arena, right?
Exactly. For those listening who might not know, Code4Arena is a platform where protocols pay huge bounties, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars, for people to break their code before it goes live. So these aren't made-up bugs. These are vulnerabilities from actual projects. Protocols like Phi, Noya, Basin, real code that had real exploitable holes in it.
So they took these 120 digital nightmares and built a testing ground. And they set up 3 specific modes for the AI agents to attempt. I think we should walk through those, because the distinction is really important for understanding the results we're going to talk about later.
Yeah, absolutely. The first mode is detect. Think of this as the AI acting as a traditional auditor or a white hat. You give it the source code, and its job is to write a report. It needs to say, hey, on line 45, there's a logic error that could let someone steal funds.
Okay, so that's the helper role, finding the needle in the haystack to keep everyone safe.
Ideally, yes. And they measure success here by comparing the AI's report to the ground truth, meaning the actual report written by human auditors when the bug was originally found.
Got it. Then we have mode 2, which is patch.
Right, this is the developer role. The AI spots the bug, but now it has to fix it. It actually has to rewrite the code so that the exploit no longer works. But, and this is the really tricky part, the legitimate functionality still has to work.
You can't just delete the withdraw button to stop a theft.
Exactly. The unit tests still have to pass. The bank has to stay open for normal business.
Right. But then we get to the third mode, the one that arguably matters most and the one that definitely kept me up last night. Exploit.
Yeah, this is the red team or the attacker role. And the setup here is incredibly sophisticated. This isn't just writing code on a whiteboard or theorizing. The benchmark actually spins up a local version of the Ethereum blockchain.
Using a tool called Anvil, and I think a harness called Ploit, right?
Yes. So it's a simulation, but it operates exactly like the live chain. It's a war game. They give the AI agent a crypto wallet funded with some fake ETH, and they say, here's the target contract. Go.
And the AI just goes at it.
The AI has to analyze the chain, deploy its own malicious contracts if it needs to, and actually execute the transactions.
And success isn't determined by a multiple choice answer or a well-written essay. Success is measured objectively. Did the balance in the AI's wallet go up? Did you successfully drain the funds?
Purely objective, did you pull off the heist?
Okay, so let's talk about the contenders. Who entered the ring for this?
Yeah.
We're looking at OpenAI's O3, GPT-5, Gemini 3 Pro, Claude Opus, the big names. So who is the best hacker?
The results were pretty stark. When it came to the exploit mode actually stealing the money, the heavyweight champion was a model called GPT-5.3-Codex.
And what kind of success rate are we talking about here?
It achieved a 72.2% success rate.
Wait, let me just contextualize that for a second. You're telling me that if I have 10 smart contracts with known high-severity bugs, this AI could successfully hack and drain 7 of them without any human intervention.
Yes, 7 out of 10. And remember, these are complex, high-severity bugs. These aren't simple, password is 1, 2, 3, 4 issues. These are intricate logic errors buried deep in financial protocols.
That is significantly higher than I expected. I was thinking maybe 20 or 30%.
It gets even more interesting when you compare it to the detect mode. Remember, that's just finding the bug and writing a report.
Right.
The top performer there was Claude Opus 4.6, but it only scored 45.6%.
Hold on, that seems completely backward. It's better at stealing the money 72% than it is at simply telling you there's a problem, which is only 45%. How is that possible? Isn't hacking supposed to be harder?
It does seem counterintuitive, but think about the cognitive load involved. Detection is a search problem. You have a massive code base, thousands of lines across multiple files. You have to find one subtle logical inconsistency without knowing where to look.
It's the needle in the haystack again. You have to scan the whole field.
Exactly. But exploitation. Often, once you have a hint or a specific goal like drain this specific vault, the path becomes much clearer. It's about logic and execution. The paper suggests that once an agent knows what to attack, it is absolutely lethal. The real bottleneck is just discovering where the vulnerability is in the first place.
So if you point it in the right direction, it's a heat-seeking missile. But if you just say, scan this building for structural weakness, it might miss a few things because the building is just huge.
That's a perfect analogy. The targeted strike is just easier for the AI than broad surveillance right now.
I want to make this concrete for you listening. We're throwing around percentages, but what does an AI hacking a contract actually look like? Does it look like the Matrix? The paper has this incredible case study involving a protocol called NOYA.
Oh, the NOYA H08 vulnerability. This is a classic example of DeFi Lego gone wrong.
Set the scene for us. What was the setup?
Okay, so NOYA is a system with vaults that hold money and connectors that move the money around, and it uses something called flash loans. For those not deep in crypto, a flash loan allows you to borrow massive amounts of money, millions of dollars, for a split second, as long as you pay it back in the exact same transaction.
Right. It's a standard tool for arbitrage, like buying low and selling high instantly across different exchanges, but it's also often used as a battering ram for attacks.
Yes, it gives you immense leverage without needing your own capital. So the bug here was an access control failure. Basically, a privileged operator could trick the router, the traffic cop of the system, into acting like it was one of the vaults.
So it's impersonation. Just, hello, I am the vault, please give me the money.
Yes. And the agent, GPT-5.2 in this case, figured this out. It scanned the code and found what we call a trust boundary failure. But it didn't just write a report. It built a complex payload.
Walk us through the heist, step by step.
First, it initiated a flash loan to get the initial capital. Then, inside that same transaction, it tricked the router. It told the router to pull tokens from a victim's connector and move them to the agent's own wallet. Then, crucially, it repaid the flash loan so the transaction wouldn't revert.
And it did all this autonomously, writing the code, deploying its own contract, executing the loan.
Completely on its own. It recognized the flaw, engineered the exploit, and verified the funds ended up in its wallet. It proves these agents can handle multi-step financial logic. They aren't just guessing passwords. They're engineering complex financial attacks.
That is incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
And terrifying. It's like watching a master thief pick a lock, but the thief is just a piece of software. But before we panic completely, the paper also highlights some moments where the AI, well, it slopped. And honestly, these failures are just as instructive and kind of funny as the successes.
Absolutely. It's important to remember they aren't omnipotent gods just yet. There was a great example with the Phi protocol.
This was the successful failure.
Right. Exactly. This involved a re-entrancy bug. Imagine a vending machine where you pull a soda, and before the machine realizes it gave you one, you yank another one out. The AI found this bug. It wrote the exploit code. It executed the transaction, and the blockchain confirmed success.
So mission accomplished. Champagne popping.
Not quite. The AI successfully executed the reentrancy logic, but it failed to do the math on the gas fees. In Ethereum, every computation costs money gas, which you pay to the network. Because the attack was inefficient, the AI spent more ETH on gas than it actually stole from the contract.
So it robbed the bank of $100 but spent $150 on the getaway car.
Precisely. And the funny part is, the AI got confused. It saw the success status on the transaction receipt and thought it won. It lacked the common sense to check its own wallet balance to see if it was actually richer or poorer.
There was another one with the Basin protocol that made me chuckle too.
Oh, the empty vault incident. This one is great. The agent, GPT-5.1, successfully upgraded the contract to a malicious version, which is a very advanced move, technically speaking. And then it called a function named rug, literally using crypto slang for theft to drain the tokens.
Classic villain move.
Oh.
Naming the function rug.
But it tried to drain tokens that the contract didn't actually have. It didn't check the asset list. It tried to steal Bean and WETH tokens, but the vault was empty of those specific assets. It broke into the safe with a laser drill, opened the door, and realized it was empty.
So they are brilliant tacticians, but sometimes they just lack basic situational awareness. They don't check the world state before acting.
For now, that is a limitation that will likely disappear very quickly.
Right, for now. And that brings us to the hint experiment. This part of the paper really blew my mind because it shows just how close we are to total automation here.
This goes back to the discovery bottleneck we mentioned earlier. The researchers asked, what if we give the AI a nudge? What if we help it with the search problem?
So they tested with low, medium, and high hints.
Right. A low hint is just pointing to the specific file, like the bug is in vault.sol. A medium hint points to the file and the mechanism, like saying, check for reentrancy in the withdraw function.
Well, what happened to the scores?
They skyrocketed. With no hints, GPT 5.2 was scoring around 62% on exploits. With high hints, basically telling it exactly how it will be graded, performance jumped to 95.8%.
96%. That is effectively perfect.
And even with just medium hints, the patch scores fixing the bugs went to nearly 90%.
This feels huge. It confirms that the hard part isn't writing the hack. The hard part isn't even fixing the code. The hard part is just knowing where to look.
Exactly. We are essentially one search upgrade away, one better algorithm for scanning code bases, from having agents that can hack or patch almost anything instantly.
Let's zoom out to the big picture here, because this feels like a serious arms race. The same tool, GPT 5.3-Codex, was the best at exploiting, but it was also the best at patching.
It is absolutely a dual-use technology, and the paper calls out the economics of this. They calculated the detect awards, the theoretical bounties these bots would have earned acting as auditors in those real contests.
Yeah, Claude Opus earned about $37,800 in this simulation.
Which is decent money. That's a good salary for a robot. But the total available bounty pool was over $200,000. And compared to the millions that could be stolen via exploits, the gap is massive. Top-tier human auditors are still beating the AI in detection, but the AI is catching up fast.
But there's a catch for the defenders, right? The paper mentions the concept of coverage. This seems like a critical point for anyone relying on these tools.
This is the asymmetric nature of security. If you are a defender, a security auditor, you need to find every single bug. If you miss one, the protocol gets hacked. You need 100% coverage.
But if you are an attacker,
you only need to find one, just one open window. The results show that while agents are getting great at finding bugs, they don't find all of them consistently. They might find the reentrancy bug, but miss the access control bug in the exact same file.
So you can't just fire all the human auditors and let GPT-5 run the show.
Not yet. We need humans in the loop to ensure coverage. But the cost of attacking is dropping to near zero. You can spin up 1,000 instances of these agents to scan the entire blockchain 24/7.
It really reinforces that dark forest metaphor. Right now, the forest is populated by simple bots and scripts. They're like mosquitoes. Annoying, dangerous in numbers, but mostly mindless. You can swat them away if you're careful.
And what EVMbench shows is that we are about to populate that forest with autonomous predators, wolves, agents that can reason, plan, adapt, and execute complex multi-step heists.
That is a chilling thought. We are moving from script kiddies to AI syndicates.
But flip it around. We also have the potential for autonomous guardians. Agents that monitor transactions in real time, spot the vulnerability before it's exploited, and potentially even front-run the hacker to save the funds.
A white hat bot army.
It's really the only way the system survives. The speed of the offense will require the speed of the defense to match it.
So what does this mean for you listening if you're building in this space or just investing?
It means that code is law is getting a stress test like never before. The bar for security is about to go through the roof. If your code can be broken by an AI, it will be broken. You can't rely on obscurity anymore.
And for the rest of us, it's a preview of the future of cybersecurity everywhere. Smart contracts are just the canary in the coal mine because the money is so visible. But eventually, this applies to your banking software, your email server, everything.
Exactly. The dark forest is expanding. It's coming for traditional software, too.
On that note, here's a final thought for you to chew on. We laughed earlier about the AI losing money on gas fees because it didn't understand the economics. But how long until an AI agent figures out that the most efficient way to make money isn't to hack the contract code, but to manipulate the market around the contract? Social engineering. Market making.
That is a deep dive for another day entirely, but with agents this capable, I wouldn't bet against it.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into EVMbench. Stay curious, stay safe, and definitely watch your wallets.
See you next time.